These were Rizal's stopovers from Dapitan to Manila. First stop, Dumaguete. Rizal visited a friend and former classmate Herrero Regidor, who was the judge of the province. He also visited other friends including the Periquet and Rufina families. Second stop, Cebu. The España left Dumaguete about 1 p.m. and reached Cebu the following morning. Rizal was fascinated by the entrance to Cebu, which he considered beautiful. Third stop, Iloilo. August 3, Rizal left Cebu going to Iloilo. He went shopping in the city and visited Molo. Molo was a church, he commented. The church is pretty painted by Alad. The paintings are mostly copies of biblical scenes by Gustave Doré. From Iloilo, ship sailed to Capiz. After a brief stopover, it proceeded towards Manila via Romblon. Unfortunately, Rizal wasn't able to catch the mail ship Isla de Luzon for Spain because it had departed the previous day at 5 p.m. He was greatly disappointed, but he took these unlucky incidents with abiding resignation. He wrote a letter to Blumentritt. August 30, 1896, Rizal was transferred to a Spanish cruiser, Castilla, by order of Governor-General Ramos Blanco. He stayed there for about a month from pending the availability of a Spain-bound steamer. While Rizal was patiently waiting on the cruiser Castilla for the next steamer to take him to Spain, portentous events occurred, presaging the downfall of Spanish power in Asia. In August 19, 1896, the Katipunan plot to overthrow Spanish rule by means of revolution was discovered by Fray Mariano Gil, Agustinian cura of Tondo. At sunrise of August 30, the revolution led by Bonifacio and Jacinto attacked San Juan near the city of Manila, but they were repulsed with heavy losses. In the afternoon, after the Battle of San Juan, Governor-General Blanco proclaimed a state of war in the first 8 provinces. Rizal learned of the eruption of the revolution and the raging battles around Manila through the newspaper he read, the Castilla. He received 2 letters of introduction for the Minister of War and the Minister of Colonies, with covering letter that absolved him from all blame for raging revolutions. And Rizal wrote a letter to his mother. The steamer Isla de Panay arrived at Singapore in the evening of September 7, 1896. When Rizal was in Singapore, Rizal and other passengers went ashore for sightseeing and shopping for souvenirs. In a travel diary, he wrote, "I have observed some changes. There were more Chinese merchants and less Indians." Don Pedro, a fellow passenger with his son, disembarked at Singapore, advised Rizal to stay behind too, to take advantage of the protection of the British law. Rizal was urged by his fellow passengers to stay in Singapore to save his life, but he ignored their appeal because he had given a word of honor to Governor-General Blanco and did not like to break it. Victims of Spanish duplicity, he sealed his own doom. By refusing to break his word of honor in Singapore, he thought General Blanco was a man of honor because he let him to go as a freeman to Spain to become a physician-surgeon of the Spanish army in Cuba, and gave him 2 letters of introduction addressed to the Spanish Minister of War and Colonies. But the truth of the matter was Blanco and the Minister of War and Colonies were exchanging coded telegrams and confidential messages for his arrest upon reaching Barcelona, and that he was a deportee and was kept under surveillance. Rizal got arrested before reaching Barcelona. September 8, 1 p.m., the Isla de Panay with Rizal on board left Singapore. Unaware of the Spanish duplicity, particularly of Governor-General Blanco's infernal deceit, he happily continued the voyage towards Barcelona. September 25, he saw the steamer Isla de Luzon leaving the Suez Canal crammed with Spanish troops. September 30, the steamer anchored at Malta. He was officially notified by the Captain Alemany that he should stay in his cabin for further orders from Manila. He graciously complied with the captain's directive. September 30, 6:25 p.m., arrival in Barcelona as prisoner. He wrote, "I saw through a tiny window the beautiful view of the port with its monumental and significant castle in 3 levels, illumined by the lingering afternoon lights." October 3 at 10 o'clock in the morning, the Isla de Panay arrived in Barcelona with Rizal a prisoner on board. The trip from Manila to Barcelona lasted exactly 30 days. He was kept under heavy guard in his cabin for 3 days. His jailer was no longer the ship captain, but the military commander of Barcelona, who happened to be General Eulogio Despujol. On his second day in Barcelona, Rizal, although held incommunicado in his cabin, noticed the city celebration of the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. October 6, 3 a.m., Rizal was awakened by the guards and escorted to the grim and famous prison fortress named Monwick. He spent the whole morning. On the same day, 2 in the afternoon, he was taken out of prison by the guards and brought to the headquarters of General Despujol. In the interview, which lasted a quarter of an hour, the brusque general told Rizal that he would be shipped back to Manila on board the transport ship Colon, which was leaving that evening. October 6, 8 p.m., the ship left Barcelona with Rizal on board SS Colon. Rizal's cell in Fort Santiago.
created using Powtoon.